Hey there gamers! Today we have a preview of Wishland, the card game. Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of Wishland, the card game by Lost Games. Now this is a crowdfunding campaign, so you can check out the link down below. This is a sponsored video, and this is a prototype copy in front of me, so all rules, components, and things like that are subject to change. But Wishland is going to be a game for 2 to 5 players where you are building out amusement parks together, but it is not cooperative. So you are working in a shared space where you are playing cards in a shared area, perhaps even stopping your opponents from playing something that they want to because you can only play cards in certain ways, but you're going to be building out these amusement parks together, laying claim on the cards that you've played, hopefully getting you the most victory points at the end of the game. So depending on the cards that you choose to play and which amusement park, they're all going to score in different ways, and then you're going to have ownership for it for points at the end of the game. Now here you can see that we have the game set up for 3 players, and we have 3 amusement parks started. Now these are each of the players' hands, and normally this would be hidden, so I do just have it out showing for you to be able to have an understanding of the cards that are in the game, but normally this would be in your hand and be kept secret. And as you can see, we have 3 rows of cards, so each row is going to be a different amusement park having different things inside of it. So depending on the number of players, you can only have a certain number of amusement parks, and our max number for 3 players is 3, but you can have up to 4 amusement parks depending on the number of players that you're playing with. And the other thing you may have noticed is each of the players have these little tokens here, and these are going to be your player markers for the cards that you've played. So you can see that every card in all of these amusement parks has a token on it showing that it is belonging to a certain player, and you can even tell from the number that are placed that it's currently the purple player's turn. Now you may have also noticed that all of the cards are numbered, so they do go from 1 to 100, and there are no duplicates, so you're playing with a deck of 100 cards, and at the beginning of the game, players are going to start off with 5 cards in their hand, and you're always going to have those 5 cards. So as soon as you play one, you're going to draw again, and the end game is going to be triggered when a player isn't able to place out cards, because that is something that can definitely happen, or you also get only 10 of these, meaning that you only have 10 opportunities for scoring points at the end of the game, so you need to make it count, and that is something that could also trigger the end of the game. Now, as I said, each player started off with that hand of 5 cards, and to start off an amusement park, you can play any card. So for example, you can see our top amusement park is a 68, and so that was able to just be played as a new amusement park by the red player. But any cards that are placed after that either have to be higher than the highest card or lower than the lowest card to be able to be placed into the amusement park. So you can see where they are placed in and how it was able to unfold for the different amusement parks that have quite a few more cards in them, but you also are never able to play 2 of the same color. So if a player, for example, how I said the game would end if you're not able to play any other cards, if this card was one of the last cards this player had, they would not be able to place it down here because you can't play black and then black. But they would be able to place it up here because 30 is lower than 68, so that would be an option for them. But based on the cards in their hand, that would not be a good option for them right now. So in this game, there are 2 different things that you're working with. You're working with the numbers on the cards because you're only able to place them when it's the highest or lowest in the different amusement parks. And again, if there's already a 40 there and I place something in the 20s, that means that my opponents can't place their 30s cards that they maybe hoped to put into that particular amusement park. So you are also blocking people off as you start filling out these parks with the different numbered cards, but also all of these cards have special abilities. So I'm going to go over that now, but all of these are going to have reasons why you're playing them, where you might choose to play them, and which park you want them in, because you want them to have the most points possible. So starting off with our yellow cards here, you can see that these are rides. So the rides are going to award you a victory point for each card that is within the swing of the ride. So you can see, for example, here, this one is a 31. So for any cards between 16 and 46 at the end of the game, we'll score a victory point for this card. So you can see that the 20 is within that, as well as the 45 and the 46 just meeting the cusp. Now you can see there's also another ride here, and this one's range is 31 to 61 because it's a 46. So that means that both this 31 and 45 would count for that ride as well, but that is a different player. So this player would be getting slightly less points, but again, this is not what a full amusement park would look like, which I will show you in a moment. So that's just how many points they would currently be getting for that row. Now, there are also the blue cards, which are the actors, and actors are going to award you more victory points if there are more actors in that area. So for example, if this actor was also here, these actors would each be granting 2 victory points each because there are 2 actors in this amusement park. Whereas if there was only 1 actor in this amusement park, it would be awarding 1 victory point, and if we were able to have 3 in there, for something like this, then each of them would be awarding 3 victory points to whoever owns those particular cards. So that's how our actors are going to work. And then we are going to, I'm just going to give these back. I'm not even sure who these belong to, but we're going to give those back. And then we can move on to our green cards. So the green cards are going to be your hotels, and hotels want you to have a lot of cards. So depending on the number of cards in the finished amusement park, you'll be granted a certain number of points. So for example, if it's a smaller amusement park with only 1 to 4 cards, you would only get 1 victory point. But if there was 5 to 7 cards, you would get 2 victory points, 8 to 9 cards, 3 victory points, and so on, all the way up to a total of 5 potential victory points if there is at least 12 or more cards in that amusement park. Now, again, as I said, that can be very hard to do where you need to keep the numbers pretty tight, but this amusement park looks like a pretty good option for hotels. Now, restaurants are going to be the same but opposite, where restaurants want you to have as few cards as possible in your particular amusement park. So if you have 1 to 4 cards in an area with a restaurant, so for example, this amusement park here, if this is how it somehow ended at the end of the game, this would award 5 victory points. But if there was up to 9 or more cards, then it would be down to just 1 victory point. So the restaurants are really going to depending on how many cards there are, and the more there are, they're actually worth less because they need to be a little bit cheaper to feed more people. Now, finally, we have the mascot cards, and the mascot cards are going to be the black ones, and they're fun little mascots, and they're going to be really interesting because, as I said, you're working with a deck of 100 cards, and they're all numbered 1 to 100. So when these ones are scoring at the end of the game, you're going to take a look at the amusement park and see which is in the majority. So for example, he is in the lower numbers. He is a 30, so he is within that 1 to 50, and if 1 to 50 was the majority, then depending on how many cards you won by, you would get a lot of victory points. But if it was just a tie, if it was, the same number of cards 1 to 50 as 50 to 100, then each mascot would be worth 2 victory points each. But if you are not within the majority and you don't win that push and pull, then this mascot is only worth 1 victory point. So you kind of want to be placing them in amusement parks that match their numbers within those different ranges, because then it's kind of safe that they're going to hopefully be able to score for those areas. Now, with that, the pace of play of the game is that players are going to be choosing 1 card from their hand every turn, playing it into one of the amusement parks of their choice, following all of the specific rules of placement, and then putting their marker onto that card. Now, if, again, a player is ever unable to play any of their cards, they would then reveal that to all of the other opponents to prove it, and then the endgame would be triggered. Otherwise, endgame is triggered when a final worker is placed down into an amusement park, meaning that a player has played down 10 of them. So now I'm just going to jump us ahead so that you can see a little bit better about what endgame scoring is going to look like. So I'm going to jump you ahead to the end of this game and we'll see who won. Alright, and now you can see what much fuller amusement parks look like, where we have all of the cards placed out and we also have everyone's tokens to show who owns which cards and how many victory points they're going to be earning. But the game end was actually triggered by the yellow player who is not able to play any of their cards. So they would show their hand and prove it to show that these are the cards that they aren't able to place anywhere because they're not lower or higher than anything currently out, and then the game end is going to be triggered. Now, depending on when game end is triggered, there are victory points that will be awarded to the players that haven't been able to go yet that turn. But after that, you're going to take a look at the victory points that are here on the board. So, as I said, the rides are going to earn victory points for everything within that swing of the ride. So, this one is going to be 86 to 16. And so it's going to award 1 to 2 victory points because 85 is right on the cusp. So this one would get 2 victory points. And now this one is a mascot. Now looking at the row here, we have a 1, 5, 6, and 17, meaning that we have 4 numbers under 50. And we have a 68 and an 85, which is 2 numbers over 50. So for our mascots, anything that is in that 1 to 50 range is going to have the majority, winning by 2 cards, whereas anything that loses is only going to score 1 victory point. Now, because the difference was by 2 for the majority, this mascot is going to gain 3 victory points, but that will change depending on how big that disparity is. So that's how both of those would score. Again, this one is a ride, so it would get 1 point for anything between 91 to 21, which is 1, 2, 3 cards there. Actors, I'm going to show you down in this row down here, but this poor actor is actually only scoring 1 point to the red player. This restaurant wanted you to have fewer cards, so there's currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards, meaning that the restaurant is going to score 3 victory points, which isn't great, but isn't bad. And as I said, this mascot is only 1. So now taking a look at our center row here, we're just going to look at the mascots in this one, but you can see that we have a really big majority. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards that are under 50, and there are only 2 that are over 50, meaning that we have a difference of 4 cards. Now, because of that, each of these mascots is going to be worth 4 victory points each, which means the yellow player was able to snag 8 victory points from that, whereas the red player only got 4. Now, again, the restaurants don't want a lot of cards in there, and this one currently has 8 in the row. So this restaurant is only worth 2 victory points instead, but we do have a hotel in this amusement park. Hotels want you to have cards instead. So we have, again, 8 cards, so our hotel is going to score 3 victory points for us as well. Now, again, this actor is worth just 1, but we're going to see the true power of actors down here in this amusement park. So taking a look here, we have 1, 2, 3 actors, meaning that each of them are going to score 3 victory points, all to the purple player. So you can see where the purple player was really building out this amusement park, potentially hoping that no one was going to stop them, and they were able to snag a lot of points there. Now, we also have another hotel, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in this row, so that means that that hotel is going to be able to get 3 victory points as well. Now, again, for everything else, these different mascots would score depending on the majority and the difference there, and these rides would also score 1 victory point for everything within its swing range. Overall, Wishland is going to be a very fast-paced game where you are really guided by the cards that you're drawing, because you can't place 2 colors next to each other, and there's a lot of strategy of planning out what numbers you're going to choose to do. For example, up here in our top amusement park, the red player played this restaurant hoping to lock out points, so you can see they also played a 17. So both of these numbers next to each other, they were really hoping to lock out that restaurant and have it score a lot of points for them, but you can see where the yellow player chose to come in and stop that from happening, having not only a 5 but a 1 to really stop that play. So you can see where you are trying to work around the different numbers that you have and the abilities that you want to try to do. For example, our purple player really went toward those actor cards and being able to build them up together, but a big part of the game is going to be watching what other people are doing and trying to stop those plans and get ahead before they can, because there's only so much room in these amusement parks. You've noticed as the numbers start getting placed out, you can only place out so many things. So especially because certain cards, the same color can't go next to each other, there's only so much room for you to do the things that you want to do. So especially if you have certain rides that you can get within a really big swing for a lot of points, or as I said, the multipliers and different things that you're trying to get out, it can just be really tricky with what you're trying to do and other people coming in and trying to stop you, or potentially even trying to close off the park with their different numbers that they're playing. So this has been a preview of Wishland, the card game. You can check out the crowdfunding link down below for everything that they have planned. I've been Professor Meg, and I will see you all next time. Bye!